by myself. Well, I'd rather be by myself. I don't want to be with anybody else, all right?
Hello everyone and welcome to this Forge tutorial. In this episode we're going to be looking at Forge objectives and spawning and what you need to do to make sure everything works as it should. If you will, go ahead and open up Forge and you will see that you'll have some maps here. Go ahead and select the map you want to work on, and then you're going to want to select the objective set that you will be needing, or your game type. In this case, this is an infection map, so I will be using infection. This is important for multiple reasons. So first is that any pieces of the map in the game that deal with respawning or objectives, they need to be set to the objectives that they're going to be associated with. So in this case, we're using infection respawn points, so we will need to use the infection game type. And I'll tell you why that's important, or I'll show you rather, in just 1 second. So once we spawn in, we will see that I am on the red team, and I was spawned at a red spawn point. Now this is important for infection, and actually, well, anything. Reds are commonly referred to as the defenders, and blues are known as the attackers. So I've set the team to red team, and nothing else has to be set for the initial spawn points in an infection mode. But if I go over here to where the infected will spawn, you can see that there's far few initial spawns, but they're set to blue team. So blue is attackers or infected, red is defenders or survivors. If we look at our respawn point for the infected, we will notice that there's also no label set, and that is, you can leave it that way unless you're doing something very specific. Alright, so now that we've talked about respawning and initial spawns, there is one thing left that we have to cover for infected in order for the infected game type to work, and that is the safe haven zone. So to spawn in a safe haven zone, you need to go in your Forge menu and select spawning and go to respawn zone. It can be, in this case, just a regular respawn zone, and you need to select INF_haven as the game type label. That's important because for an infected map to work properly, it has to have a haven, even if you're not going to be using it, simply because it tells the game how it should load up the game, or how it should function. So that is what you need to do in order to get an infection map working. But what if we wanted to do something like, let's say, assault or capture a flag? Well, let's take a look at those. So for assault, I'm selecting my bomb map, and I'm also going to select any of these, regardless of if I want to do one bomb or multi-bomb. As long as I just select one, it's okay. Okay, so I'm in my one bomb assault map, and I am at the goal for the attackers. So if I open this up, the first thing is the team, and this is really important. Probably the most important thing that you'll set immediately, and that is the team. For this, this is at red base, so this needs to be set to red team. We can look then at the game type label, and it is set to assault_goal. So this is the goal, this is where the bomb is intended to make its final destination. If we wanted the bomb to spawn here, then we could select assault_bomb, and this is where the bomb would spawn. We also have assault, and then we have team only, and res zone away, and res zone, but this needs to be set to goal. So that's how we would set up a one bomb assault map, but let's talk theoreticals here, and let's say in theory we wanted to do a 3-team one bomb map. How would we do that? Well, that is going to require only one bomb, right? This is a one bomb map, so we only need one capture plate. So the team can be left to neutral, and then the label can be left at bomb, while let's say team blue, team red, and team pink would all have the option set to goal, and then everybody would fight over this one plate. And that's the same for something like a multi-bomb assault, or actually if you wanted to do a multi-bomb assault, you would have to do a goal and a bomb, for both teams. So just a couple things to leave your creative minds to. Let's now look at a different objective. Alright, so now we are in our capture the flag area, and we have our capture plate and flag stand. So if you want to do one flag, capture flag, multi-flag, each team will need with a flag stand and a capture plate. So this is red team, so it is set to red, and this is set to game type label CTF. The other one is set to game type label CTF flag return. So one of these says, alright, this is where you will return enemy flags, and the other says this is where you can pick up your flag, or this is where your flag will be rather. This is where it will be reset. So regardless if you're doing one flag or multi-flag, both teams need both of these objects. But also, if you're doing a one flag, then one team won't be using theirs, or they'll just kind of be on standby. So by default, red team is where the flag will spawn, because this is a red team is known as the defenders in the game logic. So we have game specific. So these, I just want to talk a little bit about these. Place at start. So if you press true, then this will spawn at start. If we wanted to do something weird with like a structure, then we could say place at start false and set respawn time to say 30. Then this would spawn 30 seconds after start had occurred. We also have game specific, which deals with unless, like, let's say we have multiple versions of it, or one version of this map, but for multiple game types. So if we had bomb on, then maybe the capture the flag stuff wouldn't spawn. And so if we put game specific true, then this is kind of good if we're using one map for multiple objectives. So that is how to set up the capture flag, and we've covered the assault as well as the infection game types. Let's take a look at some respawning stuff. And we have a couple things here. We have initial spawns and respawn points. Initial is where you will spawn right out of the gate. If you set it to neutral, any team can spawn there. We are a red team, so we need a red team spawn. And then we have respawn zones. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. Most people think when it comes to respawn zones, if they just put in a respawn zone, they will assign it to the team that it is for, in this case red team, then they're good. They don't have to worry about putting in respawn points or putting in initial spawns. They think that the game will take care of this on its own. Well, it's not. This is more or less a piece of logic for the game to use when it is dealing with respawning. For example, the team that this zone belongs to, it will always try to have that team respawn to respawn points that are within the zone. So for respawning, you actually have to put in your respawn points. You can't just not have any respawn points with the zone. You have to have both respawn points and you have to have a zone if you want your game to respond this way. You don't have to use respawn zones, but there are uses for them. So this is a normal respawn zone. This is the basic. So it basically says that it will always try to spawn this team in this zone unless there are other zones set, or for some reason it cannot spawn your team in that zone. So for example, we have a respawn zone weak, and a respawn zone weak basically acts as a priority system for this. So it says if there is a respawn zone and there's a respawn zone weak, it will try to set a small preference to the weak respawn zone. But if for some reason it can't, or if there's enemies within the zone, then it will revert to the normal. There's also the anti-respawn zone, which basically is it will be less likely for teammates to spawn here, but they still have the chance to spawn they still have the chance to spawn here. So this is important because let's say you have two respawn points. You have your normal, which is where you want your team to spawn, the team in question to spawn the most, but there is maybe a balance problem which could be resolved by respawning. So maybe the team that is in this respawn zone will spawn at maybe a checkpoint somewhere, or maybe a little bit ahead of the main force. So we have now talked about respawn zones. The initial loadout camera is pretty much as it says. So if we have 3 teams spawning in here, if we want green team to see what the initial loadout camera sees, so we need to select the team to green team. We now need to cover safe areas and kill area boundaries. Let's start out with kill areas. Kill area, or the kill boundary, is a hard kill boundary. So if I was in a custom game and I walked right in here, then I would die instantly. You don't have to do anything else in here. You don't have to set a team. You don't have to go into advanced. This is just how it would be. But if I set a soft kill boundary, then this is the 10-second timer kill barrier that you are probably familiar with if you try to go out of zone or out of a map without having barriers removed. This is the 10-second kill barrier, and that's useful for when you want to say, hey, turn around, don't go any further, but you don't want to instantly kill the player. So let's take a look at safe boundaries. We have a regular safe boundary, and then we have the soft safe. So a safe boundary is basically the opposite of a kill boundary. Anything that inside the zone is safe, anything outside is not. It basically treats the inside zone as the game space where gameplay should be taking place when everything is normal. So a safe boundary, if a player is outside of the safe boundary, will kill them instantly, whereas the soft safe, if a player is not in the zone, it will give them a warning very similar to the soft kill boundary. The soft kill boundary. There was one more thing that I wanted to cover with respawn points, and that has to do with the label. So normally you don't have to use labels unless you have a specific goal in mind. But let's say we wanted our team here to respawn differently when the flag was away. So if that was the case, then let's say we would set our game type label normally to CTF res zone. So this means they will spawn here when the flag is at base. But when it's not at base, we can set res zone away. And this new respawn point will take preference over the pre-existing spawns that do not have the same label set. And that's very important because let's say when the flag is away, then maybe we do need to have a different respawn point in order to keep things balanced. So that brings an end to this tutorial. I hope it's been helpful for you guys to watch. If you have any more questions about Halo Reach or forging and general modding, let me know in the comments section below, or check out my video library where you might can find a video already made. Have a good one, and thanks for watching.